Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Source. Continuing on college football week 3, another SEC game, SEC East, Tennessee at Florida in Gainesville. Line opened up Florida +7, but it's actually down to 6.5 now. Total sitting at 57.5. Let's roll.
Welcome to The Source. The Source. Source. Hey, get the Source.
So like I said, this number did not stay at 7 for long. By Monday night, it was down at 6.5, and that's where it's been sitting all week. Public definitely leaning Tennessee in this one, but the handle's pretty much split even, so there's a little bit of sharp action in on Florida. So we got to start out with the elephant in the room. Tennessee has not won a game in Gainesville in 20 years. 20 years. Since 2005, Florida is 17-2 against Tennessee, 9-0 at home in Gainesville. So yeah, safe to say Florida has owned this Tennessee team in recent years. But you know what? We were reading off these same kind of trends last year, and what happened? Tennessee beat them 38-33 in week 4. And that win was kind of the first time we as the viewers started acknowledging Tennessee as a playoff contender, was after they beat Florida. But as we know, that game was in Knoxville. It's time to go to Gainesville. And one thing I want to say about Florida, that week 1 game against Utah, well, first of all, I had Utah, so I was pleased with the result, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the final score indicates. Yes, they lost 24-11, but they were on the road in Utah, across the country, in a tough stadium to play in, with a quarterback who's never played with the team before, under a new system. And if you watch that game, Florida was really beating themselves. They actually outgained Utah 346-270. They lost the turnover battle 1-0. They had that dumb penalty on the punt return where they had 2 players wearing the same jersey numbers. I mean, just dumb mistakes. I'm not saying Florida should have won that game, but I will say going into Utah on the road and holding that offensive line and that run game to just 270 yards of total offense, it's actually kind of impressive. The reason I think that's notable in this matchup, Joe Milton really hasn't proven anything to us as a passer yet. Tennessee opened up against Virginia and then Austin Peay, and they've mostly just been running the ball. In fact, Tennessee has run the ball in 60.5% of their offensive snaps this season. That's 17th highest in the country. They're averaging 257 rushing yards per game. That's 6th in the country. Utah in week 1 against Florida ran the ball 30 times for just 105 yards on the ground. That's 3.5 yards per carry against this Florida defense. Utah's a top 5 rated offensive line this year. If Utah at home couldn't establish the run on this Florida defense, do you really think Tennessee's going to be able to come into the swamp and do it? Remember, this is a brand new defense. They brought in a new DC, Austin Armstrong. So throw out all the notes you have on Florida's defense from last year. This is the ultimate prove-it game for Joe Milton. Sure, he's got solid-looking numbers on the season, but he hasn't been asked to do much. 6.8 yards per attempt against Virginia and Austin Peay is not impressive to me. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure where all the Joe Milton hype came from. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he's wildly unproven. The swamp's going to be absolutely rocking. I don't think the run game's going to be there. We're going to really find out what kind of player Joe Milton is in this game. One thing I will say about Joe Milton that gives me a little bit of confidence in him, his numbers in the second half of games, the first 2 games this year, have been way better than the first halves. Completion percentage jumps up to 77%. Yards per completion way up as well. That's a good sign. Indicates that him and the coaching staff are seeing the defense well and making the proper adjustments. But again, they played Virginia and Austin Peay, neither of those games were on the road. And on the other side, we got Graham Mertz at quarterback for Florida. And to be honest, I thought he looked pretty good in that Utah game. Everyone was shitting on Florida after the game was over. And I mean, I get it. There was a lot of ugly football from Florida, but that was Graham Mertz's first game on a new team, first game in a new offensive system, goes on the road in Utah across the country. Utah should very well be a top 25 defense this year, completes over 70% of his passes, throws for 333 yards on 7.57 yards per attempt. How is that not impressive? We just saw the Tennessee defense let Austin Peay throw for 260 yards on him on their home field in Knoxville last week. They only won that game 30-13. Now, they were probably caught looking ahead at this game, but still, I think Graham Mertz has a chance to make a statement and have a huge game throwing the football against this Tennessee defense. Real quick, let's rattle off some trends. We'll start with Florida. Billy Napier, this is a good one. 15-3-1 against the spread as an underdog in his 6-year career as head coach. Florida's 5-2 against the spread as an underdog since last season. 4-3 against the spread versus top 25 opponents since last season. Couple for Tennessee. Tennessee is 13-6 against the spread as favorites since 2021. 4-1 against the spread as road favorites since 2021. As far as what I'm personally betting, I'm on the Gators here. I'm waiting it out. I'm hoping it gets back up to 7. I'm hoping I could grab it at 7 on some sportsbook, but I think that's wishful thinking. I think it's, if anything, I think it'll drop to 6 even. But I'm on Florida either way. I think we're going to see Joe Milton make a couple mistakes here. I'm taking the points. So give me Florida plus 6.5. I'm hoping for 7, and yes, I'd still take it at 6. If you want my top bets, parlay of the day, if you want to join the Discord, or if you want to get in on the NFL against the spread contest, week 1's winner got a signed Keenan Allen helmet. Week 2's winner gets a, what am I giving away? Oh, signed Drake London USC mini helmet. So if you want to get in on that, just head over to KyleKirms.com. All the information is right there on the homepage. College football week 3. We're off to a great start this season. Let's keep it rolling. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.